Hey, this is Kris Wilder. I want to thank you for listening to the Martial Secrets podcast. You, the listeners, really make all the difference in the world about whether or not we're going to continue this or not. And we are, and we've got some great stuff coming up in the future. Right now, we've got about a 2.5-minute interview that Lawrence and I did with Cairo FM radio station in Seattle. It's in regard to our new book, How to Win a Fight. Like I said, it's about 2.5 minutes. It's really kind of a nice little piece. Hope you enjoy it. Then we're going to jump right into our animal barbecue interview, this time with Clint Overland. I think you're really going to like Clint. I think you're going to like his straightforwardness. And let me tell you something, man, this guy knows his business. So take a listen. Hey, and thanks again for listening to Martial Secrets. Really appreciate it. Be well.
Lawrence Kane and Kris Wilder started martial arts for very different reasons. Lawrence because
I was a little skinny kid and I got picked on all the time. So my folks decided that I needed to get tough.
And Kris, well,
I saw Race Bannon on Johnny Quest, and he was really cool. He wore slip-on shoes and slacks, and he kissed the girls, and he knew judo, and it was like, I want to do that. So,
but regardless of why they started, they stuck with it, and eventually their paths crossed.
You know, it was like 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, I guess it was about 15
Yeah.
years.
The two now work in the same West Seattle karate dojo. Kris is head instructor and teaches karate nearly full-time, and Lawrence is a sensei.
It's just been a friendship that's worked out really well, and we both kind of have a set of strengths and weaknesses, and the other guy kind of fills in on that.
But on top of teaching karate together, they also write books together, over 10 between the two of them. The latest is titled How to Win a Fight. But if you think it's just about teaching you how to throw the best punch, you're wrong. What's it about?
What fighting really is, what is really worth fighting for, and what isn't, and how to avoid it. When we say with the title How to Win a Fight, what we're really talking about is how to deftly avoid it before it ever begins.
You can avoid probably 90, maybe even 95% of all potential violence because you see it coming and you can leave. Occasionally, maybe 2, 3, 5% of the time, that's when you have to go hands-on. So we spend a lot of the book talking about how to avoid violence because most of the time you don't actually need to be in a fight. When you do, we talk about some strategies that you can use to prevail.
Okay, so if you read the book, you'll learn a few moves, but it will also help you decide when it's absolutely necessary to use those moves.
Let's do a little drill here, Brandy. All right, so you get to answer this question. Here's the scenario. Somebody's broken into your home, all right? They want to tie you up. Are you going to let them tie you up?
I'm going to try my best not to.
Well, no, it's a yes or no.
So no.
Okay. When they hold a gun at your head and they say, get out and go get in the car, are you going to go get in the car?
No.
The reason you're not going to go get in the car and the reason you're not going to allow them to tie you up is because you believe you are going to die. Now it's time to fight.
Their book, How to Win a Fight, comes out tomorrow.
Hey, this is Kris Wilder with Martial Secrets. I'm still out on the road doing the Animal McYoung barbecue, and as you know, we're going to be doing a long series of interviews with the folks that are here, that are working out, that are teaching, that are instructing, or just come down here to participate. With us right now, we've got Clint Overland. Clint, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right. You're a bouncer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's and so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the long history you have with improvised weapons and mayhem. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, something like that.
Let me ask you this, because I've probably seen Roadhouse 1,600 times.
Oh, God.
Now, come on. You got to admit,
I truly hate that movie.
That is a big, steaming pile of wonderful.
It is, yeah. It's the only character in that movie worth a damn is the older guy who plays Wade Garrett. Sam Elliott.
You know, if I had Sam Elliott's voice, I'd be doing voiceover work too, man. That's
it's I hate that movie. I've seen it twice. Once when it came out, and then once with my older son.
Well, who's the wrestler that's in it?
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk's in it, so there you go.
Yeah,
you know?
he's from Amarillo. I've met him several times.
Now, do you say Amarillo or Amarilla?
Amarillo.
Okay, all right. Yeah, well, you've met Terry Funk?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he lives right where I lived in Canyon. He lived just right past my house.
Oh, you know, I met Bam Bam Bigelow one time.
He's a big old boy.
Hey, let me tell you something. I was stuck in the Pittsburgh airport and it was this horrible snowstorm, and we got stuck there for like 3 days. I don't know, this was maybe like 92, 93, something like this. And so we're finally trying to get out, and we're like, 12 hours at the airport now. And so I'm standing in line at McDonald's, and there's a couple lines, and I look over, and there's this woman bent over, getting into her bag. And I thought to myself, that is the biggest butt I have ever seen on a woman. Then this guy stands up, and I see the flame tattoos underneath his hat, and he's wearing aviators. And now I got a college degree, right? And I realize this is Bam Bam Bigelow. Now, I got a lot of respect. He's deceased now, but I got a lot of respect for Bam Bam, because that dude could move.
Yes, he could.
He was an athlete and a half. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a big man move like Bam Bam Bigelow.
He could take the falls. He could take the bumps. He could.
Oh, and do high flying stuff too.
And the speed. He was fast.
So I see the flames, from the tattoos on the side of his hat, sticking out of his hat. And I got a college degree. I think, I've written a couple books. I think I'm a fairly intelligent individual. And I go, "Excuse me, are you Bam Bam?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I stick my hand out, and he shakes my hand, and all that can come out of my mouth is cool.
Yeah.
But I just,
Yeah.
Terry Funk, man, that guy is
He's
a pioneer in the Southwest down there.
He is. His wife and kids went to church with us. A little cowboy church I went to every once in a while, and it was good people. They were good people.
No, I'm a big fan of those guys, man. They took their bumps, that's for sure. But anyway, we're going to talk about Mayhem, and we drifted into the Roadhouse. Let's talk about Improvised Mayhem. We were talking before we got started here about how, and it's been my experience, that there are a lot of traditional martial artists that once their system gets cracked, they fall apart. And it seems to me, now when I say that, I mean it's like, well, that round punch didn't work, and now all of a sudden they got their legs swept, balance, or whatever it is, they're falling apart.
Yeah.
They're horizontal instead of vertical. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, and I don't mean that as a condemnation. I just mean that as an observation. But it seems to me that Improvised Mayhem falls directly into that spot where it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go.
I have tried to escort a guy out of a bar, and he was I think a Taekwondo practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You can't throw me out." I said, "Yes, I can." And he took a punch at me, but he cut his punch about half an inch short.
Well, I guess that's the way we train, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I kicked him in the balls.
Yeah.
And when he dropped, I drug you out. This is how it happens.
I forgot to mention something. Although this is a podcast and we're not governed by the Federal Communications Commission, I don't know how to mark explicit on the iTunes.
Okay.
So
I'll put testicles. How's that? I'll watch my language.
Ball's okay. Yeah. But that was one of your experiences with.
That's a standard. Every bouncer I know has had a guy try to kick him and miss intentionally.
Yeah.
And try to punch him and pull the punch. And I try to explain to people that have come talk to me, I'm not there to hurt you unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
I'm there to get you out of the bar. I want you to come back and spend more money and guarantee my paycheck.
Yeah.
I don't want lawsuits. I don't want anything like that. But if you want to take it to a level, I'm not playing by rules.
Yeah.
I don't go on a point system. I don't go on I will do every dirty thing you can imagine. I've seen grown men get their eyes gouged out, their faces ripped off, knees shattered. I've seen guys die with holding their intestines in from a beer bottle.
Well, there's your improvised weapon. I mean, I got a good friend that he took a beer bottle. It wasn't even broken. The guy, a full-on beer bottle. Now it was open, but the guy, without any sense of what it was going to do to his hand, just full-on, bam, hit him square in the face with it, with just what we'd consider to be a palm shot, and just shattered it right in his face. Well, busted up his hand, cut it up too, but it also cut up the other guy's face, which he still got scars from it.
Yeah.
But that's we're talking
I've
improvised
seen
there.
grown men in a bar one night. Somebody took a beer bottle and crushed it up into powder,
Yeah.
put it in a cup, and walked up into another man and threw it in his face. What's the first thing you do when you get something in your eyes?
Man, you rub it.
Yeah, it was like hamburger meat.
Oh my, yeah, that's premeditated, pretty nasty.
Yeah, I've seen sulfuric acid thrown in people's faces. People are stupid.
Man.
I'll be real honest with you. You're not playing by a point system. You're not playing by, well, if I do this, this is what's going to, you never know.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, you've got in your environment, you got beer bottles, you got plastic cups, you got chairs, you got tables. I don't know if the club's got candles on the table or what have you.
You've got a flammable substances. I got set on fire one night.
Okay, that's like that is over the. I don't know anybody. I do now. That's been set on fire.
Guy set 151 rum on fire.
Oh, sure.
And threw it in my face. And it's hard to concentrate when you're on fire. It really is.
I've never been on fire, but I'm going to assume that it is hard to concentrate.
It is.
Well, now let me ask you this: did you put it out by just running your hand down your face? Because we used to put 151 on our hands and light on fire.
Hey, my hair burned quite a bit, but my face, I wasn't burnt.
Yeah.
It's a startling experience.
Oh yeah.
And it's a strange world. The bar I'm at right now, it's nothing to take knives off of people every day. Guns, pocket knockers,
Blackjacks, you mean saps,
blackjacks, impact weapons. There's beer bottles, there's pool cues, there's pool balls. Pool balls will blow a skull up.
Oh man.
Throw them put them into a towel and wrap it up and just beat the hell out. Beat someone. I mean, there are people out there that will hurt you and have no consideration of who you are as a human being.
Well, it's because it doesn't enter into their world.
No, it doesn't.
Because you're just in the way of whatever they want to do, and
exactly.
That's just the way that it works. That's the way they were raised.
Exactly.
They don't know
Yeah.
any different. Well, first off, let me say this. I just assume that everybody in the free world has got a spider coat clipped on their blue jeans.
Pretty much that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Everybody is a martial arts master.
Yeah.
Everybody, I don't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
I don't care what you look like, what you pretend to be. I don't trust you. That's just how I have to approach the bar situation, because I'm dealing with alcohol. I'm dealing with cocaine, methamphetamine, mixtures of all of it together.
Yeah.
And you never know. A few weeks ago, I had a guy that was coked out of his head. I hit him in the chest 3 times with a stun gun, right over his heart, held it. And he would just screaming, "Bring it on, bring it on." He
Get
never
out.
felt
That's
it.
insane.
He'd pop right back up and he was just ready to go again.
Sounds like he was a low responder to begin with, and then on top of it, coked up.
Yeah. And there's every about 10 minutes he'd walk outside and then walk back in. And
that's like that Willie Nelson song, I didn't come here and I ain't leaving.
Exactly.
Why do you want to? Well, you're not functioning.
It's getting to the point where, and I'm dealing with a lot of MMA guys.
Oh, sure. Get my guard.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, and I've had them come up and, I could take you. No, you can't. I'm not playing by a bell. I will pop your eye out.
Yeah.
I will take that beer mug and I will smash your skull in.
Yeah.
If it comes down to me going home to my wife and kids, all bets are off.
Yeah, this is where it goes. I'm not so sure that MMA thing has been I'm not so sure that has been exactly what you need for your business. It hasn't helped, I would assume.
No, these guys come in and they try to drop and I'm going to take you to the floor. You don't want to take me to the floor.
I don't think, this is, I'll tell you what, if you look at any of the Okinawan karate system, which is what I practice, they're all about, you go to the ground, I still keep my feet.
Exactly.
Because this is where the stomping's going to begin.
Exactly.
I don't want to be down there with you.
If I'm on the floor, then I got to worry about his 3 buddies walking over and one of them sticking a knife in the back of my skull, or busting a beer bottle and cutting my throat with it.
Yeah.
I've got a good friend of mine has 320 stitches across his lower abdomen.
Dude.
From a beer mug.
from a beer mug.
They broke the beer mug and just drug it, ripped
Yeah.
across them, and it's not a cut; it's a rip.
Sure.
And
yeah.
there are so many people out there, and it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't seen it. Violence is not a pretty thing. It's not glorified. It's not a beautiful, it's not this artistic expression like the
No.
Matrix movies.
No.
This is brutal, hard. Longest fight I've ever had is 2 minutes.
That's a long
Yeah.
fight.
And that was trying to get a guy out the door.
You had to be gassed when that was over.
It was, I was puking my guts up.
Yeah.
It gets brutal. Eyes get popped out. Faces get ripped off. I'll tell you this. I had a kid in Dallas. I
Now
wasn't even
remember,
working.
we still got statute of limitations here too.
Well, no, I didn't do this.
Okay, all right.
The kid in Dallas got in this old cowboy's face,
Yeah.
and he said, "I'm gonna just blankly blank, 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 blank." The old man said, "Well, bring it on, son." And the kid dropped down to grab him. The old man reached down and grabbed the cheek and just ripped it off.
Yeah.
Flesh tears.
Yeah.
Human body is a very fragile thing. We can take a lot of stuff, but there's some things we can't deal with.
Right.
Spray somebody in the face with window cleaner.
Oh yeah.
Wasp
the ammonia.
spray.
Yeah.
Berryman's B12 Chem Tool or WD-40.
I got a postman that I used to know. He used to carry a little squirt gun. He had ammonia in it for the dogs, and that just shut them down.
Yep. It's people will set you on fire.
Well, yeah.
And it's get wasp spray in your mouth and eyes.
No thanks.
And that's everybody talks about pepper spray. Pepper spray washes off. That wasp spray messes you up.
I don't want to get near that.
Yeah, it's rough.
So, are you usually working the door? Are you?
I have a doorman.
Let me kind of back this up a little bit. You guys are broken down, and kind of everybody has an assignment and stuff. And you got your doorman or onesies and twosies, and they're doing that first initial sort of check, make sure everybody's of age, and what have you, and all that kind of stuff. But now they're in and they're milling, and you got some guys. If it's a show, they're working up front, and then you got some guys on the side and all that kind of stuff. How do you go about the assignments on that? Do you make assignments due to physicality or by their brain temperament or their
a lot
experience?
of times it's their brain temper. It's how they handle themselves.
Yeah.
The doorman, guys checking IDs, guys looking, make sure there's no guy. I want him to be the nicest guy possible.
Yeah.
I want him to know my regulars. I want him to know their families. I want him to know what they drink. We're selling an experience. We're selling good times. So that first thing, I don't want you being there and looking like a brute, and what do you want and all this. No, hey, how are you doing? Welcome. Can I see your ID? I want them. If I've got big show, if I'm working someplace like that, I'm gonna put the headbangers right up front. They're cannon fodder, basically. That's what they're there for. I walk the floor.
Now,
I watch and pay attention to what's going on.
Recently, my son and I went and we caught Helmet. Pretty, drop D tuning, pretty crunchy, been around for a long time. You're going to get a pretty physical crowd. So I'm watching these guys, and the guys that are down front working the edge of the stage, they're pulling people out that are exhausted, and all this kind of stuff. But then I watch it, and there were two guys, and all they did was they just kind of swam in the crowd, and they were looking for trouble. They were looking to see who was making the trouble. This one guy, he got a little crazy, and and of course you can't really communicate, but I watched this bouncer put his hand on his shoulder and give him the no finger, and the guy went, oh, okay, and it's like, and the bouncer's hands went up, and it was like, we're good, kind of symbol, and the guy's like, yeah, and it's like, okay, and away they went. Well, this happened third time. It's like, okay, you got to go. What was he looking for? What's a trigger for him that goes off?
You brought attention to yourself.
You brought attention to yourself.
I worked Thursday night. I had almost 280 people in a bar.
How big's your crew?
Me.
Oh.
I got a doorman and me to control the situation. I've got a couple of bar backs, but it's me. It all falls on my shoulders.
Yeah.
The bar I'm going to, I'll have 6. The new bar I'll go to work at, I'll have 6 people underneath me working for me. But I've got 1% backers. I've got meth heads. I've got gangsters. Big mixture of it. Frat boys. It's just a big
I
mixture.
mean, we're
of
talking
everybody.
like gypsy jokers. And,
We're talking banditos,
Banditos,
and
sure,
the
sure.
Velistas, and
yeah.
you know what? I've never had a problem with a 1% club. Ever.
When you say 1% club,
Outlaw bonus.
okay, I got the context. I know what you're talking about,
police themselves. Don't
Yeah.
bring attention to yourself.
You know, you know about the dead baby party?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I went to that one year, and I was going, you know, this is really working out well. This is really, I haven't seen a cop all night.
Mhm.
It's you know, everybody's paying. Then I realized that it's the Angels clubhouse
Mhm.
that we're having this party at. You know, and I'm in
Exactly.
their backyard, and that explained why I saw the guy in his
Exactly.
jacket up on top of the, you know. But I'll tell you what, I bumped up against a couple of those guys because you know you're clanging
Mhm.
around, you're crashing into people. I didn't mean any harm and no foul, and it was like my mistake, and it was like, that's cool, you know, as long as you were,
You have to have respect.
yeah, you just have to have respect, and it's okay. I didn't see any incident that entire, I mean, that was like 5-6 hours I was there, never saw an incident, and I'll tell you why I think it was, is because everybody knew what was at hand. If you were having a good time and you were keeping your P's and Q's in order and paying attention and not being disrespectful,
Exactly.
everything was going to be fine. Have a good time, buy a hamburger, enjoy the beer.
Exactly.
All right, so drawing attention to yourself.
If you draw attention, if you make me see you
Yeah,
other than background noise, or we're going to have a problem.
yeah.
I'm going to give you, hey, everybody's having a good time. Let's just calm down, enjoy, relax.
And what percentage of people at that point go, oh, my bad, I got it.
It's going to be, I would say 80%.
Yeah,
Then there's going to be another 10% that kind of bows up until I look at them and explain to them, you really don't want to go there.
yeah.
Uh,
Now, by this time, they're out of their regular mind.
I
and they're-
pull them away from their party.
Okay.
I don't want them to have the pack backup.
Yeah, you
I
don't
want them
that,
away
yeah.
from that. I want them looking at me. I want them looking me in the eyes. I'm not playing games. I'm sober. You do not drink on the job. If you
Sure.
work for me, you do not drink.
I was how you can do your job.
You can't.
Yeah,
That's just part of it. I explained to them, I'm here to make sure you have a good time. But if you get out of line, you're not going to like what happens. It's not worth it.
Now, part of pulling them aside out of that pack is, you know, you don't want that pack mentality, especially if you got like a bunch of frat boys. You know, it's
Exactly.
like, hey Zeke, don't put up with that. You know,
Yeah,
he didn't. You know,
exactly.
that kind of thing. But the other thing is that you when you pull them away and you have that brief conversation, you're not putting them in a situation where they're having to
Exactly.
protect their own ego. In
Exactly.
front of their buddies.
And ego causes problems.
Yeah.
I don't have an ego. You can call me anything you want to. I've been called that before, mostly by my wife. You know, I've been doing this for nearly 24 years in October.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd had a real job, I probably could have retired by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not there. I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Right.
I don't have to, you know, this is how it is.
Right.
If you want to get nasty, I can take you to a level that you do not want to know.
Well,
I've
let's
seen beer mugs, beer bottles, and if you've never seen what a beer bottle do to a human body, it is an ugly, ugly thing, because it gouges, maims, and you're a martial artist. You Okinawan karate.
Yeah.
People who practice Aikido, people who practice judo, they're practicing in a situation that is controlled.
Oh, no question.
My life is led and my work is in a place that there is no control other than what I set up.
You don't know who's walked in.
No.
You don't know what they're on. You don't know what their experience
Exactly.
is. You don't know what they're packing.
Exactly.
I mean, it is a complete crapshoot.
Exactly. And I don't have a badge to back me up. I'm not allowed to carry a gun. I'm not allowed to carry a baton. Last case scenario, the worst thing is I can use a taser.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I have to use fist and boots. I would rather, though, be able to talk them out of it.
The talking part of it. Now, I've watched a couple different groups work, and I don't want to name names, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But there's one club that I've gone to, and honestly, I think the crew gets off on banging on
They do.
people.
They do.
And then the other crew, they're always smiling. I mean, even when they're down front and they're like trying to do the hard stare, they're still smiling. They're taking the water bottles and they're popping the top off, poking it with their key and shooting water out at people. And they're like, hey, you need out of there? Oh, no, you're okay?
But see,
Okay.
that's the professional.
Yeah, and I have rarely seen a real serious situation. I've seen them 86 people, but it's like, you know what? We've talked to you. It's time for you to leave. And you can leave nicely, and we'd like to see you come back.
Exactly.
Or, we're good, but you're leaving. That's how it's
Exactly.
ended. And they go. The other club, they'll grab you by the back of your blue jeans as quick as they can and give you a chuck and use your door to open your head to open the door.
And that's not professional.
No, I don't think it is either.
That
I think it hurts business.
it does. Once you get a bad, when I started bouncing in '88, that was the norm. It was nothing to drive people's heads into post, the center post on the wall. It was nothing to take them out back, take a pull cue and sock and just wear on them.
Yeah.
That was how it was. Now we've evolved as
You've
professionals.
evolved as a professional.
We still are. We're still cannon fodder. We all know this.
Sure.
We know that our job is to get in there. We're probably going to get shot, cut. I've come to the realization if I continue in this business, I will not grow to be an old man. Somebody will kill me. That's just you get to that point where somebody's going to blow my head off.
I'm at a show, and it was and again I won't name the place.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even there anymore. It doesn't make any difference. But Motorhead was playing, and they came on at like 11:30, something like that, and they had probably 4 warm-up bands who were all kind of in that genre. Well, this place had 2 bars in it, and they opened at 6. Now you tell me what kind of crowd I got at 11:30 when I've had a hard liquor bar, 2 of them, open at 6. The place was absolutely out of control. And I remember watching one of the bouncers, big guy, looked like a pro wrestler with the big long hair, and he was wearing a flak jacket, and he had shin guards on like a Major League Baseball catcher. Watched him down 2 Red Bulls, step over the line and start wading through the crowd and pulling people out.
Yeah.
And the guy's got to be 6'7". He was huge. It was all a bunch of brothers and Samoans that were working the crowd. Nobody was under 250.
Yeah.
And they were wearing, I don't know if it's really right to say slap gloves or whatever, but it was one of the most unruly shows I have ever been to. The barbacks were handing out Ziploc baggies of ice to people. It's just, it was crazy.
I don't like situations. I don't like working those kind of, and I'm about to.
It was a setup from the get-go.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
I
trouble.
refuse to work those anymore. I'm too old. I'm 40, fixing to be 42 years old.
Yeah.
Or 43. I can't
The
remember.
fights afterwards. They're like, I'm gonna kick you. It's like, fine, do it in the middle of the street. Don't do it on my sidewalk. And it was out in the middle of the street. People were having at it. 3 fights at one time. I was like, what happened here?
It's pack mentality. Everybody's charged.
A lot of alcohol.
Everybody's charged up. You've got the adrenaline. You've got the testosterone. You've got all these factors focusing to one thing. Human beings want violence.
Now, okay, all right. Tell me about that, because that is, where I am at in Seattle, it's all, rainbow kisses and plaid puppy dog hugs and everything.
Yeah.
But and there's a large, if you talk to the city council, if you talk to those guys up there, they're all going to say, oh no, there's not evil in the world. It's just misunderstanding. I think you and I disagree on that position.
Yeah.
But tell me what you mean when you say people want violence.
What's one of the biggest sports in the world? Football. What's another one? UFC.
Yeah.
Boxing. People want to see violence.
Yeah.
People want to experience it without suffering for it.
People
I've
want
had
to
a girl,
experience-
and
okay,
I
wow,
know that I know
that's too good.
Yeah, I know that there's maybe some kids listen to this, so if you're young, shut it off. I've had a girl walk up to me after a fight. She said, "You made me wet."
Oh.
Because there are women out there that get turned on by seeing fights. It's bad.
I had an old girlfriend that wanted me to wail on somebody
Yep.
one time. She thought it'd be really cool.
Exactly.
And that relationship didn't last because
No.
I wasn't going to get hooked up
No,
with that.
my wife gives me a blessing every night. Don't
Yeah.
hurt anybody. Don't get hurt, and I love you.
Yeah.
That's my
Don't hurt
blessing.
anybody. Yeah, yeah.
And
All right.
it's if you look at what people enjoy watching, look at the movies they enjoy watching. They watch Saw. They want to see people get tortured.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh no, I've been
Yeah.
there, done it. I watch an action movie every once in a while. I enjoy monster movies, but like werewolves, vampires,
Yeah.
stuff that's
Frankenstein.
not
I want
real.
mummies. Yeah.
I deal with real monsters.
Yeah.
I want to see stuff that doesn't exist.
I don't need myself. I don't need to see the story of Ted Bundy.
No.
I
I know guys that make Ted Bundy look like a joke. This is how bad it was. I had a guy that is one of the 1% clubs in the area. He's an enforcer. This is a very bad man. This guy is he's a heavy hitter. Walked up to me the other night and said, "What is wrong with these people?" That should tell you something. When a guy whose job is to enforce the rules for a 1% club,
yeah.
and basically, you understand what I'm talking about. He said, "Well, these people are wrong. What is wrong with these people?" I'll pull knives, pocket knives. People, you don't need a knife to go drinking.
No.
That's just asking for trouble. I had a guy walk in a coop about a month ago with an 18-inch Bowie knife on his hip. Basically, it's a machete.
Well, now listen. Where you grew up, that wasn't uncommon.
Not out in the country, but in
Yeah.
town, the cops do frown on that.
Well, I mean, when I grew, I started tending bar 2 days after I was 21.
Yeah.
And I looked like I was 12.
Yeah.
But the rule was I had to take anybody's gun or knife and hold it behind,
Mm-hmm.
and then they could get it when it was time to go.
And that's basically the rule at the bar
Yeah.
that I work at.
Yeah.
You leave it outside or leave it at the door.
Yeah.
It doesn't come in. But people, like I was saying, people enjoy violence that they're not involved in.
You watch NASCAR for the wrecks, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's people watch football to hopefully see someone get hurt. Think about the soccer hooligans in overseas.
Oh yeah, sure.
They don't care. They could care less about the soccer. They're
throwing
there for the
darts.
fight.
Yeah.
We as a society, and this is just my opinion. And like I said, I'm high school educated. I'm an idiot.
Hey, no, you're not. You've got a master's degree in violence. So, if you got 24 years of background, that's a master's degree.
I have seen people, and I'm trying to put this so that it is G-rated, PG-rated. There are people out there that get off sexually on violence.
Oh yeah, no.
And I'm not talking about just the S&M and all that. To me, that's all a joke.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I get off on pain. Well, let me break your leg.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of pain that is. Yeah.
No, you get off on the endorphin rush. You don't get off on the pain. I'm talking pain of people putting another man's legs up in a car door and jumping on his knees to snap them backwards, or putting his face up on a curb and stomping it.
Yeah, losing the teeth. Yeah.
Losing his teeth, or sticking your finger your thumb up a man's nostril while you hook him in the eye and lead him around.
Yeah.
Ripping someone's ear off.
Well, because that's just it's a whole distorted dominance
It is.
thing. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
crazy.
I've seen so much, and I've seen people in the martial arts. I've seen people that just thought they were bar fighters. And I don't want to be known as a street fighter. I don't want to be known as a bar fighter. I want to be known as someone who can keep the peace, because I don't want somebody shooting me in the back from behind with a shotgun.
No, in fact, I wrote about it with Lawrence. We did that book, The Little Black Book of Violence.
Yep.
And I remember we wrote about it in there, but I was, and I'll tell you the story because you may not have read it, but I'm going to let you end it because you know how it ends. There was a fight. It was a bar dust up out in rural Pierce County. The two guys got into it in the bar. One of them got 86th, and the other guy stayed at the bar. The bar closed. What happened?
Somebody
now?
got shot walking out the door,
You
or
betcha.
walking to his truck.
Exactly. Shot him, and then shot him in the eye, dropped the gun, got on a plane to Asia, and hasn't been seen since.
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
People don't care about each other. Unless you're my family, honestly. I mean, you can be a friend, but unless you're my family of choice or
Yeah.
my blood kin, I really don't care. I'm there just to make sure you leave. You have a good time and get out the door.
So how does somebody who owns a bar decide on who's going to be working for them doing that job? I mean, do you show up with a resume?
Yeah, pretty
You
much.
really you do. Yeah.
I get calls.
Yeah.
I've been in it long enough. People know me. I've worked for enough good bar owners, and there's a lot of bad ones out there.
Sure.
I get calls. I actually walked into this one I'm working at, and the guy says, "You're Clint, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I need to talk to you." We sat down and talked, agreed on a price. I'm not a prostitute. I'm not for rent. I'm a professional. I'm for sale. You know, when you pay me, you get everything I got.
Yeah.
The pay stops, I leave.
Sure.
As simple as that. People come to me now. And, but a lot of times when I first started out, I'd walk into the bar, people get to know me. Hey, you looking for a job? You ever done this before? And it just kind of builds from there. I mean, I'm 6'4", 270 pounds.
That'll work.
People kind of, that's why I don't have tattoos. I already stand out. I don't need nobody else looking at me for another reason.
You don't need a sleeve.
Yeah. The whole aspect of being a bouncer is it's 90% being able to deal with the public.
Let me ask you this question. One of the things that I do, and I don't know if I'm sure you do, but I take a look at people's ink. And I can tell
Exactly.
the difference between where you went into a shop and where somebody did it because you were cooling your heels for a year and a half.
Exactly.
And when I see the prison tat, that changes how I'm going to approach you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because I mean, if it's a social situation, like if it were here at the barbecue and I saw some prison tats, my assumption is going to be, well, I know where you got those. And number two, you must be okay now.
Yeah.
But let's go find out.
Exactly. I look at people's hands.
Mm-hmm.
I look at their knuckles, see how scarred up they are. When I shake their hands, I'm feeling the ridge lines on their hands. Are they a practitioner? Because a lot of guys that they'll get that callus right through here.
Sure. Yeah.
From all that breaking.
Right on that little finger on the
Yeah.
backside. Yeah.
Are they getting up here? The judo practitioners look from here. It's from that gripping and that gripping and that gripping, and they'll get those calluses along the top of their thumb, that forefinger.
Sure.
You have to bouncing. You have to pay attention to the details.
What about shoes?
Oh, I hate shoes. They're a nightmare. I wear steel toe boots everywhere.
Yeah.
Other people do too. You'd be surprised what you can slip in a shoe. There's a website that sells knives that bolt onto the bottom of the boot.
Like James West from the Wild Wild West.
Exactly.
Good grief.
One of the old school things was you used to take in your steel toes and you drill a couple of holes in them.
Yeah.
And you'd run a screw out this way going out. Put a small bolt on it so you had studs. And you put 3 studs across there, and you could take somebody's leg clean out. All you had to do was kick them once.
Yeah.
And they'd punch a hole through their leg or punch a hole through their ankle.
Oh man, you take that in the shin, that's
Yeah.
gonna drop you.
Yeah, and it's things like that. You know, I hate box cutters. Have a phobia about box cutters because you can't see a box cutter, and you transport it up underneath a belt.
Oh, it's awful flat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's flat. You put it in your hand, and then it just takes an eyeball. It slices your face up. You cut your throat with it. You can't see them. I'm not worried about the idiot's got the big knife. I could care.
Well, that was his peacock display
Exactly.
right there. Anyway,
I'm worried about the guy that's coming in there with stuff you can't see.
um,
Box cutters, punch knives, things that are meant to kill you.
Phillips screwdriver.
Phillips screwdriver, exactly. I look at shoes. I look at how you're dressed. If you come in and you're sleazy, you've got my attention. If you come in looking like a gangbanger, you've got my attention.
You know, but I also see these guys that come in and they're doing the whole, alternative rock and roll thing, and I look at them and I just go, you haven't done a push-up in your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, that studded leather jacket is not,
Yeah.
it doesn't look good on you and it's not doing anything for me either.
The posers.
Posers?
That's
Okay.
they're posers. After a while, you just get to the point where you can recognize who is going to be trouble. And it's hard to explain unless you watch it. And after a while, you start noticing. It's like you watch every bouncer in the world. He sways back and forth.
You're right.
You know why?
No.
Because he's looking this way, and he's looking this way, and he's looking this way. Hey, because the crowd's in front of you.
You're right.
You've got to keep swaying back and forth to see around the crowd. You don't want to be doing this,
Yeah.
looking around. You want to sway back and forth.
Yeah, now because this is a podcast, what he did is he lifted his head up and was kind of like gawking around the room, as opposed to just doing that subtle sway
That's
back and
subtle
forth.
sway. And one of the managers that's working for me, I said, you're getting a bouncer sway. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, pay attention. He said, I am. And he was swaying right to left. And what you're doing is you're scanning the whole area.
Sure.
I'm not looking for individuals. I'm looking for signs. I'm looking for the guy standing up quickly. I'm looking for the guy that's making hand
You're looking
gestures.
for
Their
the
tails.
unusual.
Exactly. Things that if it sticks out, if it's not normal bar behavior. One thing that drives me crazy is people that whistle. Don't whistle in a bar. Please, people, whoever hears it, don't whistle in a bar.
You mean like, like
loud,
a hog call?
Yeah,
like, get
loud
over
whistle
here?
because
Yeah.
that's saying there's trouble.
Yeah.
Because you can't hear. A lot of times I'll give people the whistles, the bartenders, the manager, whoever's with me will have whistles to, hey, or flashlights to shine people.
Okay, I'm at a club with a friend of mine, and a lot of cell phones, have a flashlight built into them now. And we were messing around, and he was flashing it,
Don't do that.
Yeah, in about a second and a half, there were 3 guys right there, and they were like, "What?" And then it was like, "Oh, hey, don't do that, dude. That's our symbol."
Exactly. We have to. If you think about how noisy a good bar is.
Oh yeah, it's all visual.
And we have to be able to see things. We have to hear high-pitched noises.
How do you do that when you got your ears plugged for a show or
you
something?
don't.
Yeah.
You live through. That's why I've got some hearing damage.
Yeah.
Years of being next to those stacks.
Sure.
That's why that's what I tell my wife. Sometimes it's selective hearing, What did you say, dear? But no, you start looking for things that stick out.
Yeah.
That's not standard. That's not what you consider acceptable behavior. And as a bouncer, you learn to put up with a lot. If I ever write a book, it'll be called "What the Hell Were You Thinking?" I've seen people bite a urinal cake. I've seen a guy bite a urinal cake on a bed. Then I'm not talking out of the box. I'm talking out of the toilet. Picked it up and bit into.
What the hell were you thinking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a girl a couple weeks ago poop her pants on the dance floor and kept dancing.
No. Okay. Well.
I've had people urinate on themselves.
Sure.
I've seen guys throw up in a cup and try to drink it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what. I used to go to this one bar in Idaho. It's long since burned down, but this is really. I think this is the only time I maybe got kicked out another time, but I was young, stupid, about $1.25, and just real dumb. It was a $2 cover to get in, and then it was a $5 pitcher of your favorite hard lick, limit 2.
Yeah.
So you'd walk up and get a pitcher of gin and tonic and a pitcher of tequila sunrise,
Exactly.
and hope that your quarter was going to keep you on the table.
Yeah.
Now you tell me that is not a formula for.
We have a night, Sunday nights at the bar, and sometimes I go in. Usually it's just Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, or Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. Sometimes Sunday, depends on who's playing. They do $5 pitchers of cherry bombs.
What is a cherry bomb?
It's Everclear and cherry Kool-Aid, basically.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Sunday night, huh?
Yeah.
Is there a time limit on that?
No.
Oh, man.
No, it pretty much goes all night, from about 7 o'clock on.
If you're showing up for cherry bombs on a Sunday night, you don't have a job on Monday.
Pretty much, no.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't know. You'd be surprised. People will party till 2 o'clock and then complain the next morning. How do I feel so bad? Because you're an idiot. I'm sorry. If you're going to stay out drinking till 2 o'clock in the morning and have to be up at 7, it ain't the barbecue. It ain't vacation. That's just stupidity. So you look for things like actions. You're paying attention to what people are doing, if they're standing up, if they're sitting down, if they jump up suddenly.
What about the guy who is, clearly enjoying the show, but not really engaged in it? Like maybe he's got his back to the band,
nervous.
and he's dancing by himself, but he looks like he's dancing with somebody.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Something like that is, he's a Ted Bundy waiting to happen to me.
Yeah.
He's a Jeffrey Dahmer just waiting for his next victim. I don't like that. He's drawn my attention. If I've got a crew, my crew will be watching him. If I not, I've got my doorman will be watching him. Barbacks will be watching him. Waitresses will be watching him. We'll all be paying attention. Something's wrong.
Now that's a really good thing that you brought up there. The waitresses are actually part of that system.
They are my eyes and ears on the floor.
Now, do they just kind of like whiz by and they'll go like
Yep.
table 6? Those guys are going to be a problem
Exactly.
because they know.
Yeah,
what's
after
coming?
a good waitress, after a while, is just like a good bouncer. They hate people. If I'm hiring somebody, the first thing I ask them, are you a people person? If they say no, I hate people, I'll hire them. If they say, yes, I love people, you're out of here. I don't want to talk to you. You haven't been in the bar business long enough. But yes, your waitresses, your bar backs, the guys that are moving the beer, taking the trash out, they're all paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Waitresses and bartenders are paying attention. They're listening. They're seeing what's going on, and they're moving
So
through.
there's really an intricate web of system there.
It is
isn't
very
just
much
the
so.
bouncer.
Yes, it's very much so. It's all based on selling a good time. It's customer service. And if you're going to mess up the good time, you're going to mess up their tips.
Yeah.
Don't mess with a person's money.
Yeah, don't mess with the money.
Strip clubs are a different story. Strip clubs they're harder to deal with just because of all the things that go on. You've got people selling fantasy.
Sure.
You've got people selling sex.
Yeah.
And you've got people selling liquor and cocaine and heroin and methamphetamines.
Bathroom's got to be a busy place.
Yeah. I've worked in bars that we've literally go in, new owner, replace all the tops on all the tables, all the bathroom, have to replace all the porcelain because it's all chopped up.
Oh, geez, from
People running lines. When a bar gets that name, it's hard to get it back. It's hard to bring it back to a good time.
Well, you got to rebrand it completely, don't you?
You've got to, and you've got to do some things that are not very nice.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have that same crowd coming back.
Well, sure, because
They're
it's
people of
it's their
habit.
trap line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, if they fall and get their teeth shattered on a pole, sorry, that was a bad accident.
Yeah.
If they get their legs swept out from them and then somebody falls on their groin and crushes their testicles. Oops, shouldn't have fought the bouncer.
How many times a day are you threatened to be sued?
Oh, all the damn time. I got a lawyer. I got insurance. I got a bail bondsman.
Yeah.
You want to party? Let's go. Every bar I work at, I make sure they've got a lawyer. They've got a bond. So we can sue all of us. We're going to sue you back. You made me lose money,
Sure.
That's why I'd say you can get away with anything you want to if you sell it to the jury.
How do you spot the liquor control board when they show up?
In Texas, it ain't hard. They all got big cowboy hats on and white shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they they pretty much stand out. But you know what? They're there for a purpose, and they're there to help.
Sure.
And I don't have a problem with them. I like seeing them because people calm down.
Because they all know who it is.
Exactly.
What happens when the police show up? Are they going to you first?
If the cops show up, it's gotten really bad and really out of hand. A good bar doesn't want the police to show up. And I'm not saying anything against the police.
No,
but it gets a lot of people involved.
Now you got to report.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you've got TABC breathing down your neck trying to find out what went on. Then you've got lawyers coming, and it's a headache.
And you've been in that situation. I mean, when the cops show up and their job is to arrest what's going on, they're not really there to adjudicate it. Somebody's going to jail. And
I try to meet all the officers that patrol the area.
Yeah.
I want them to know that I'm the bouncer.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to keep the peace. And it works out sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I would rather you get out and go home and make it home safe. I'll call you a cab. Mm-hmm. I'll get you on a bus. I'll get you somebody to drive up there. I can't make you not drive. If you've been overserved, it falls back on the bar.
You ever have patrons come up and say, that guy's being an ass?
All the time.
Yeah. And is it an act of vindictiveness, or is it really?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like they've already had problems.
Yeah, that's my old boyfriend, or whatever it is.
And I said, well, I'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Now, my attention is now to both those people.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing?
It's not just who you pointed at.
There's
I'm watching
never
both of you.
one side.
Yeah.
There's never. there's always two sides to every story, and sometimes there's 4 or 5 sides. It's like a spider web.
So when you've shown up and you've said, this guy's bothering, you've just called attention to yourself as well.
Exactly.
And that's one of your protocol.
But that's good, because especially if it's a woman,
Yeah.
I want you to come tell me that this guy's creeping me out. This guy, something's wrong. That's fine. I'm going to keep an eye on you because you've told me about him.
Sure.
Let me see what he's doing, the interplay and the social interactions between the two of you. What about him is creeping you out? Now, if a grown man comes up and tells me that, I'm watching both of them.
There's some history there. Yeah. Yeah. There's some history there. Let's say that somebody has foolishly decided that they want to work in the bouncing industry. It's an industry. I mean, it's a professional industry.
It's getting that way. It's more so in England and Great Britain. Here, it's more up north in the Northeast. They've made gains. It's become a union, and I'm not big for unions, but they've set some standards.
Sure. So just being just having blue belt in jiu-jitsu and
get you killed.
Yeah. And honestly, just thinking that, or you're going to bide your time until you can get on, the department or whatever. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like that's a formula for
bouncing. Old school bouncers are people that know how to read other human beings.
Biggest skill?
You have to you have to have that ability to talk to other human beings. Outsmart a drunk. 90% of my job is dealing with the public. 5% is intimidation, the threat of violence. The other 5% is butt-puckering terror. I don't know if I'm going home that night.
I remember an incident where a buddy of mine, we went down to Hell's Kitchen in Tacoma, and Zeke was playing, and it was a pretty rowdy crowd, and he just got absolutely bombed, and decided that he'd had enough of the guy who was running the main door. And this guy, I kid you not, Clint, he's bigger than you. This is a huge man. Mm-hmm. When he unfolded the sunblock,
Mm-hmm.
And so the way buddy says, okay, that's it. You and me outside. And he just looked at him and he goes, you got to go now. And he goes, no, I mean it. He says, no, I'm telling you, you got to go now. And there was about a 2 Mississippi, and my buddy went, yeah, okay. And he left. And that was it.
Yeah, you have got to be able to, there's an intimidation factor.
Well, but it was almost as if it was, a first grade teacher telling a child to sit down.
It really is. I'm an adult babysitter. People act childish when they drink. I'm an adult babysitter. Sure. And that's why you can't, you could get away with a lot. You could do some horrible, evil things. Violent. I mean, just brutal. Now, since everybody's so happy, it's changed.
So, I mean, what does somebody do? Do they hook up with you and they say, let's say I decided I wanted to be a bouncer. Would I give you a call and say, hey, Clint, I think I want to get into this?
Yeah.
Or would I go down to a bar and go,
you would probably talk to your other bouncers, talk to the local bouncers.
Yeah.
Where are they hiring? You think I've got it? The guys that's been there a while, the guys that's in the area, they know each other.
Yeah.
They talk. We gather together and gossip.
Sure.
We have Bitterfest, much like nurses or we complain about everything, and
sure.
We share war stories, and we know each other. I've had kids come up, I want to be a bouncer. Be a bartender. You're going to make more money. You're going to go home with all your teeth. You're not going to get stabbed. I have a scar.
Oh, yes, you do.
That's an axe handle.
Splendid. With the axe attached or just the handle?
No, just the handle.
Nice.
That's a beer bottle in the ear.
Oh, that's a nice nick.
There's an tooth on this side.
Yeah.
That's the top of my ear got chewed off.
Nice.
This is what you have to be able to do. You may not go home.
Yeah, sure.
It's an acceptance, I get up every morning, give God thanks, and tell him it's a good day to die. You have to come to that acceptance. I tell my kids all the time I love them. I tell my wife I love them, because I never know if my guts are going to wind up on the floor somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's reality.
Yeah. No,
I don't walk around wearing a gi wondering how tough I am. I'm not a tough guy. I'm a big sissy. I will admit to being it. I don't want to do anything but go home at night to my wife and kids.
I think that is the perfect note to end this on, because everybody who goes to the bar should have a good time and go home to their family.
Exactly.
Yeah. But Clint, this has been absolutely fascinating. I have to tell you that this time has absolutely flown by. Very informative. I hope that the listeners have found it as enjoyable as I have, and as interesting as it has been. And so, you got any parting words for the listeners out there?
Just be nice.
Be nice.
Don't bring my attention. Don't let me know who you are. Really, let's be honest. I don't want to know who you are. I want you to have a good time and go home.
All right.
And every bouncer out there is the same.
All right. Very good, my friend.
Kris,
Thank you so
appreciate
much. Appreciate it. And to you listeners out there, thanks for taking a listen to Martial Secrets. As always, we really appreciate your patronage, listening to what we have to say. We try to do the best we can to bring you, interesting and informative stuff. And we hope that we're achieving that goal. And again, thanks for listening. This is Kris Wilder. Be well.
Nice work.
It ain't the barbecue. It ain't vacation. That's just stupidity.
Hi, this is Kris Wilder from Martial Secrets. Martial Secrets is free, but it's not costless. So tell your friends about Martial Secrets. Your good words are the best endorsement we can have. Also, if you like what you hear, buy one of our books, buy one of our DVDs. We think they're pretty good, and we think you'll find value in them too. As always, we appreciate you listening and your support. You can find us pretty quickly by just going to Amazon.com, typing in Lawrence Kane or Kris Wilder, and you can find all of our books and DVDs there. Thanks for listening, and be well.